What's happening, people? Welcome to the Brain Nutrition Revolution. Today I wanted to do a little video about how the diet of the masses and the food situation all over the world seems to be covered in these food traps, particularly wheat and gluten. I'll concentrate on. I mean, there's plenty of others I could talk about, but just to keep it more detailed and more, it'd be too much to cover. Like, do you know what I mean? To talk about them all. So just to concentrate on particularly the wheat, just because for me personally it has a big effect on me. So I've noticed how it's everywhere with the wheat. You know what I mean? Like with the other stuff, I'm sure it's lots of bad situations, lots of traps of all types. Not even food, just all kinds of stuff going on, to toxins and environmental stuff that affects our health. But the one that I'm concentrating on for this is the wheat. And the possibility that they use it as a weapon to target the minds of the population all over the world, to make them dumber and easier to control and more compliant, just to keep us down. You know what I mean? The way they do, the way everyone kind of has realised in the last 4 or 5 years, everyone started to realise that the people who run the world, the overlords and that, they haven't got their interest. I think the cat's out the bag in it, and they just do it openly now. They don't care. It's kind of gone past the stage where they think we can do anything about it, I think, and they just do it brazenly now. They raise prices and just totally poison us, and do it obviously to the point of plausible deniability, I think. So it's all like open, but a wink, wink. Do you know what I mean? It's poison us with a smile. So it's all a bit mad. And we asked for seconds, because with the wheat and the gluten, there's a lot of addictive pathways with it. I mean, a lot of the ones that one that they say is that it acts on the brain like an opiate, crosses the blood-brain barrier and interacts with your brain, and makes you crave like heroin, and other drugs that do that. So that's one. And then you've got the high sugar, high carb, like dopamine hits that you get, like the reward mechanism in the body. That's another, which is a powerful one by itself. And then you've got the one that I'm a bit of a slave to myself, which is like the memory of the food and the emotional stuff attached to it. Like the stuff, like one of the ones for me is these noodles, these coca noodles that I used to have when I was a kid. And they're only like 24p, really cheap crap food, you know what I mean? But I can't get enough of them. Sometimes I just crave them, and I get real comfort from eating them. So that's a whole pathway of its own that I don't really know that much about, but I respect and understand. I know that it's there, like, and so you've got these three. There's three there, and I'm sure there's others, like, but there's three strong, because other foods will have one, maybe two of these pathways, but your wheat and your bread, like, that's three. Not many of them. It's the blood-brain barrier crossing that makes it particularly stand out against other foods as a one that particularly makes people crave. So if you look at it, if you think, let's take for the sake of this argument that it is addictive. So if you look at how they use it in littered through the diet, and how they recommend it as a staple food for a very long time, because it goes right back to the religion of our daily bread, and it's been a big thing pushed onto us. I'd say for a long time it was just something that we ate, and that was a good crop and all that. But then at some point, I think it was realised that it made us dumber. Maybe I don't know this for sure. I don't know that hundreds of years ago this was the case. It's possible it was just addictive and we liked it, and it was an easy crop, and I don't know for sure. Like, but at some point in the last 100 years, almost certainly, they've discovered what it does and the power that it can have over the masses in the population, and they push it on us. I mean, I don't know whether it's to make us sick physically or to attack our minds, make us dumber and easier to control. I think the latter, like, because when you look at the whole food system, when you look at the targeting of the red meat, the eggs, and other things that they do promoting a plant-based diet without knowing about DHA and stuff like that, which I've done videos about, they point at, to me, heavily, that the goal is the brain and not just to make us sick, like maybe originally thought. So at some point, I don't know when, they've realised this, and they use it as a weapon, and for me, it feels like a very important weapon. I mean, because I was talking about this on my Facebook last year, and I talk about it like I do now, and it was the main topic of discussion for me. And I got my Facebook deleted with no right for appeal or warning or reason given, and I never have had the reason given, and I have had that for 10 years. I lost a lot of stuff, and it affected me a lot, and I haven't got over it. I'd like to do legal action over that, but I don't even know where to start. But yeah, so me discussing this, because I say that a lot of the stuff, a lot of the conspiracy stuff is even promoted because they want people to look mad. Do you know what I mean? They want us to, like the flat Earth and all that stuff. They want to kind of promote it, so people point the fingers, so it clouds doubt over the more realistic stuff that people might believe that people spread. Do you know what I mean? So like anything is labelled conspiracy and all put in the one bunch these days now, and all like labelled with the same kind of tinfoil hat, tarnish. So I try and stay away from other conspiracies and just stick to the food stuff because of this, despite what I might believe. But they seem to promote all these other things. But I'd say that the agenda against the wheat, or with the wheat, the possibility that it's addictive, the possibility that they might use it to target the minds, you won't find that anywhere. Like I don't see anyone saying what I'm saying, and that's because they either kill them off or hide the information. And I've just managed to blag it and not get killed because of being able to make music, and I don't know, I've made myself hard to kill, I think. If they killed me, I think my message might spread, and they don't want that because at the moment maybe no one listens to me. I don't know. Maybe they will kill me. We'll see. And make it look like suicide. And I'd never do that, I just want to say. And if I ever do it, it'd be a parachute jump probably. So, yeah. So with the wheat and the food shops, we'll discuss like how they are littered through the society. Because so we've got beer, which is the main drink of like Britain and other countries across the world, like America and that. And it's like basically wheat and gluten juice. So if it's having these effects, then and that's bad. I mean, oh yeah, I forgot to really discuss as well the mental negative effects that have appeared with the wheat and the grains and that. It's like if they knew about that at some point, as well as them being used as to make us easy control. I think that was the starting point, but I think later on they've realised as well that it gives people mental health issues where they can make money for the big pharma and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I think that's also a big issue, making them worse. Making existing conditions worse, and just making all conditions worse, making people sick. So as well as the controlling people, there's the big pharma thing, you know what I mean, making money for big pharma, which is a thing that we all know is a big part of the world after COVID, and the way all that went. So I think people are knowing this a bit more now, so I think there's a lot of interest in people getting mental health illnesses worse, needing more medication, and getting physical sickness and dying and all that, you know what I mean? There's a lot of money in it, it's trillions, like, do you know what I mean? So it's a big thing, and I think so. You've got your bread, which I've done videos about how they push bread as a staple food all over the world and say it's healthy, say it's got lots of fibre, and they lie about that because it hasn't. Say it's got lots of vitamins, and that it hasn't, and it's a negative food and it poisons a lot of people. Same with cereal and pasta. There's like in the UK alone, I haven't looked that much across the world, but I do see that they eat a lot of the same foods. And even in China, you've got heavy wheat consumption, even higher than the West, which I was surprised by. But like I've concentrated in the UK and slightly in the United States. But in the UK, it's heavily pushed. If you go across the NHS, the National Dietetics, even the mental health websites, they're all pushing bread. And these bread, pasta, and cereal, they all copy and paste the same script, pushing it onto us. So you've got that side of it. Like you've got people not knowing that this is possibly a bad food that's making them sick, pushed onto us. With all these possible agendas, and it's just littered through the diet. I call it food traps. So you've got your breakfast cereal early in the morning, first thing, straight away, dosed up. Do you know what I mean? And you've just got it all the way through. Like bread, it's hard to escape from. You got breadcrumbs on there, yeah, all the food in the aisles in the supermarkets. It's just because I'm gluten free, so I know how hard it is to avoid. And I can't eat 80% of the stuff in the aisles in the supermarkets, especially in the frozen section. And that's what a lot of people are living on. And a lot of people are looking at these meals, like say you get a bit of breaded chicken or a bit of breaded fish, and all they're seeing is fish and chicken. They don't even look at the bread as it might be a bad or any kind of factor. You know what I mean? And for me, that ruins the dish, makes them sick, adds loads of calories, adds a gluten effect, makes them crave. It just ruins and people don't even think about it. Like, so this knowledge needs to be out there, and especially when you've got gluten sensitivity, which is now being more acknowledged as time goes on, and people are getting more and more. It's acknowledged that it affects people mentally, physically, and it's not just celiacs. Because I remember, just not even that long ago, a few years ago, the blanket thing was gluten is fine for anyone who isn't a celiac. And then he said, oh, it's about 3% of people. Now it's going up to 10%, and it'll just keep going up. I think it's like 30, even more, that are severely affected. And then I'd say there's another 30% that are quite affected, or a little bit affected, and then probably another third who are kind of okay with it and get away with it, and it's not such an issue that they have to remove it for some reason. But I'd still say it's a negative food that shouldn't be eaten by anyone. When there's because there's another thing, right? You've got wheat and gluten, and you've got a lot of things that you can make flour out of. All flour is a plant mashed up into powder. You can make it out of anything. Dry a plant and make it out of anything, you know what I mean? So you've got flours all over the world, and they seem to have picked the worst one in wheat and gluten out of all of them to feed the masses with, because it has the worst reactions of any food across the board. It has so many bad reactions. It ruins the gut. It's just so bad. And people argue for it and say, "Oh, it's great, it's a staple." And yeah, some of the healthiest people I know, in other ways except for this, eat bread in their diet. And I say to them, and you go, "Oh, it's okay," and you fight for it and argue for it like an addict. Do you know what I mean? Craving for the addiction. That's what it is. People fight for addiction. It's like talking to a heroin addict, trying to talk them out of heroin. That's what it's like. And the truth is, there's loads of all of these other flours. Like, I'll take one for example: sorghum flour, an African flour. It's lectin free, gluten free, and it's amazing. A lot more fibre, a lot more vitamins than wheat. Why don't they make stuff out of that instead? You know what I mean? Just like. The reason is they don't want to. They can't. It's like cigarettes. I've made another video saying how it's similar to cigarettes, and the comparison is there. Like, so yeah, there's all these food traps in the diet. We'll talk about the wheat. All the wheat traps are listed in the diet, fed to our children from a young age, and it's making us all sick. So just the wheat and the gluten. Try giving them up for 4 weeks and see how you feel. It might change everything. You know what I mean? And it might not be for you, and then you might go back. But I think it's mad the way that in the modern diets they're littered, and I wonder why. It makes you think why. I mean, I'm open-minded to the possibility that it could just be the way it's gone, that there's no agenda, that it's just because they were cheap foods, that they were cravey. They taste good. I admit they taste good. But at some points, they must have realised they're unhealthy, and they've started to milk it for the big pharma profits and pushing it onto the masses for the control and to make us sick. And it's obviously died. It's obvious how it's happened. It's like to make money for the government to control us and that. So the problem, as always, is in private companies controlling the government, influencing them, and the governments having devious interests of controlling the population by any means they can, with the food and the dumbing down of people by it being one of them. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's something I wanted to make a video about today, and I hope you get something from it. Like, I hope you learn to see, I will look out for these traps, avoid them. I mean, even if you're not badly allergic to it, just try cutting down. Like, it's not good food. And look, I drink, if I have a drink, I'll have a cider instead, or some wine, or there's lots of spirits and that. But like, everyone's addicted to beer in the UK, and now all I do, when I go in a pub now, all I see is people getting poisoned by this brown liquid that's like being put there to poison us. It's mad. It's crazy. Because I mean, I know all drinks are a bit of a poison and that, but this particularly on the side, it's a wheat and gluten, and it's socializing. It's bred into the culture of some of like Germany and some of the cultures of countries all over the world. Do you know what I mean? try and take away beer from American on match day or a Brit, do you know what I mean, on football day. You know, it's not happening, like, do you know what I mean? So it's woven into the society and the socializing of the culture in these countries, especially the UK. And like Wales, where I'm living, it's definitely in the past. In my old mining days, that's what they used to do, innit? So it was all, and imagine the effect that's had on the minds in the evolution of the species in the last 30 or 40 years. It's going to have a big effect, like, do you know what I mean? And we're only just realising in the last five years or so, or 10 years, that we need to start removing it. People are starting to realise they're intolerant. And this is why for years people have been getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I'm just not a fan. Like, I think we should ban it myself and remove it, take it out of the food system, and get other flours to replace it. You know, I'm not saying don't have bread, just limit it, but use other flours, not the one that's the most poisonous and controversial. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's it for today, and hope you have a good one. Yeah, listen to the Evans. Welcome to the revolution.